ladies and gentlemen, here we go. From North Wilkesboro, Richie Joplin, Tim St. Jean have the front row. Pudjanowski and Jess Chambers on the second row. Don Warren, Michael Whiting in the third row. Mike Burgess, Paulo Anacito on the fourth row. John Talley and Terry James round out the top 10. Edmund Jones starting in 11 next to John Barry in 12. Stephen Lindner in 13th. Mark Nelson 14th. Jack Wilson in 15th. Kevin Bruner in 16th. Ryan Warp, Daryl Whitford, Mark Dantuma, James Lacey round out the top 20. Gerald Poole, Clinton Chambers, and John Wyatt round out the field. Everybody gets stacked up on the front straightaway. All right, all the drivers are rolling, making those last-minute comfort adjustments, getting buckled up, tightening those straps, getting ready to go. Hey, good evening, Record Edit Post. Here we go, one more time around. The pace car will drop the pit road coming into turn 3. And new pit road entry is a bit weird. All right, pace car dives in. Richie Joplin, Tim St. Jean on the front row. Here they come out of turn 4. And the green flag flies. They're down and away at North Wilkesboro. So far, so good. Everybody makes it out of turn 2. No problems, but here's where historically things get spicy coming out of turn 4. Everybody holds on to him. Richie quickly into the lead. St. Jean in second. Budge back in third. Jess Chambers currently in fourth. Don Warren on the move already up into fifth. Now Richie does come in tonight with the points lead. With 4 wins out of 7 races. You're very welcome. Everybody is going single file for the moment. This likely is going to come down to a battle of whose tires are the best in the long run. Mark Nelson trying to get past John Barry. A little bit of side-by-side action back behind. Ryan Warp trying to make Ryan a little loose there through 1 and 2. And a little loose out of 2 on the power. But Ryan makes the outside line work to take 13 or 15. And the first caution of the night is out. Kevin Bruner, Gerald Poole involved. Let's see what happened. There's Kevin Bruner in the camouflage car up top. Oh, Gerald slides up, coming through 3 and 4, gets into his bumper. Fortunately, minimal damage. I seriously doubt we'll see Bruner on pit road. Does not look like there's any significant damage to the left side of that car. No, Kevin is coming in. James Lacey also on his way down pit road. Well, that is an interesting turn of events. Kevin Bruner is putting tires on. Looks like right side's on now. Boy, he is barely going to make it off pit road, but Bruner does get fresh right side tires to help him get through the field. Just barely makes it out ahead of the pace car. Tim St. Jean still in second, Pudge in third, Jess Chambers in fourth, Don Warren in fifth. Michael Whiting, Mike Burgess, Paulo Anacito, Terry James, and John Talley round out the top 10. As we mentioned during pre-race, Michael Whiting was one of the fastest cars in practice. I've watched Michael for a lot of years, and if he's the fastest in practice, he's going to be tough to beat in the race. Lights are out. Everybody stacks back up for the restart. Pace car dives in. And here they come out of turn 4. The green flag flies again. Tim seemed to get the better jump on the restart. We've already seen a couple passes up top. Richie's fighting back on the bottom. Richie trying to hold on to that lead. Tim not giving an inch. Richie takes it, but Tim's still there as Jess Chambers tries to make the outside work on Pudge. Oh, we've got Apollo Anacito ducking in. Looked like Paulo had significant right front damage. Mike Burgess peeking underneath Michael Whiting. That is the battle for sixth. Terry James also up in the fight. No, Terry! Caution is out. John Talley is around. Taking a look down from the chopper as they come through 3 and 4. Just barely pushes up into John Talley just enough to send him around. I don't think Talley actually touched the wall. That was likely the lightest tap you'll see all night. Don't forget, the new season starts soon. You can find out more and request to join at homemotorsports.com. Even if you haven't been in the car in a while due to injury or illness or whatever, definitely check them out. Folks, don't forget, right after we're done, come back about 5 minutes later. The Unicorn is trucking tonight. There will be chaos and anarchy. lot of your favorite drivers from here. Well, at least one or two will be in there. All right, here they come out of 4. Should get the 1 to green this time. There it is. The lights go out. The question is, are they stacking up? Yes, they are. All right, here we go. Pace car dives in. Everybody side by side down into turn 1. Richie quickly clears into the lead. Tim in second. Jess and Pudge still fighting. Michael Whiting now up into 5th, battling to get past Don Warren. Pudge pulls up into 3rd. Now Whiting to the high side. Edmund Jones starting to make some moves up top as well. John Barry now moving to the high side. They got a little heat in these tires now, and it looks like the drivers are taking advantage to make some moves. Richie Joplin did just set the fastest lap of the race so far. Still trying to make up ground up top. He started in 11th, is up into 6th. John Barry up 3 spots into 9th. Mark Dantuma, though, up 8 spots into 11th and continuing to march. And Gerald Poole also on the move. Gerald up 7 spots into 14th. Richie Joplin has not been able to check out yet. Tim staying with him. Pudge not far behind. We did notice last night Pudge was not the fastest early, but he was one of the fastest on the long run. And he marched through that field last night. If you missed that race, it is on our YouTube channel in 4K. Caution is out again. John Wyatt in trouble. And John has gone to pit road. Let's see what happened. All right, there they are, coming out of turn 3. John just snaps loose, and a hard hit into the inside wall. Now, we did mention pre-race, loose out of 4. That has always been a bit of a problem here. It's always been easy to push coming out of turn 2 right into the wall, and coming out of turn 4, if you're on the power too much, you're going for a spin. And several guys in this time, James Lacey, John Barry, Clinton Chambers, And John Wyatt all in. Mark D'Antuma now 10 spots into ninth. Gerald Poole up 10 spots into 11th. Several drivers starting to make their way through. Wow, John Barry barely beats the pace. No, it doesn't look like he did. Nope, he made it. Just barely beats the pace car off pit road. And I do believe John Barry took 4 tires instead of 2. Well, folks, it does seem we've got a lot of cars on track with a lot of horsepower that makes a lot of noise. So what do you say? On the restart, we'll crank it up. I'm going to stop talking, let you guys crank it up, and listen to the power. All right, here they come, out of turn 4. The green flag flies again. Crank it up, y'all. Sound listening to those cars. All right, John, have a good night, buddy. Richie's still in the lead. Tim's still with him. They have opened up just about 0.6 of a second on the rest of the field. Mark D'Antuma continuing to advance in 8th. Gerald Poole now in 10th. Michael Whiting still in 4th. Edmund now in 5th, right on his bumper. Mike Burgess up into 6th. Don Warren in 7th. Second in points, Jess Chambers has slipped back to 9th. Oh, Edmund Jones forcing his way down to the bottom. Through 1 and 2, now under Michael Whiting. Top 2 still pulling a bit of a gap as they fight on behind. Michael Whiting's got to try and get down into that gap. Burgess may get underneath. Gerald Poole now up 11 spots into 10th. Surprise, Mark Nelson still sitting at 14th, hasn't moved up at all yet. Hudge in 3rd, the top 2 continue to pull away, now 1.25 seconds ahead. Edmund Jones closing in as Mike Burgess and Michael Whiting battle behind. And now Don Warren coming into that fight. And Gerald is looking under Jess. Couldn't get enough of a run into turn 1. St. Jean apparently got loose coming out of turn 4. And Daryl Whitford is coming in. That one mistake gave Richie a 1-second lead over Tim. Pudge still holds on to third, Edmund in fourth, Mike Burgess in fifth. And Mark Dantuma sitting in eighth. Now it's Gerald Poole in ninth, closing in. Yes, those two are teammates. And the caution is out. Mark Nelson involved. All right, let's see what happened with Mark going off into turn 1. Just snaps loose mid-turn. Does manage to get it low and out of the way before anybody else gets there. That will pack the field back up. Mark Dantuma, Jess Chambers, Kevin Bruner, Stephen Lindner, James Lacey, Mark Nelson all went to pit road. Everybody trying to beat the pace car out, but it doesn't look like some of them may not beat it. I think Kevin Bruner will, barely. But that does end up James Lacey, Stephen Lindner, Clinton Chambers, all now a lap down. Clinton appears to be the lucky dog. He's getting waved back to the lead lap. Lights are out on the pace car. Everybody stacked back up. Richie Joplin in control, and about half this field has at least put 2 tires on at some point. But the front half just hasn't. As the green flag flies again. Fresh tires start back around 9th place, but really back with John Barry in 11th. Richie quickly clears into the lead. Tim St. Jean battling Edmund Jones and Puchanowski banging doors. And looks like Don Moore, Gerald Poole, tried to battle it into turn 1. Now Gerald has John Talley to the outside. And Stephen Wozniak, whoa, caution! And a big mess in turn 1. And good evening, Stephen Wozniak cheering on Ryan Ward. Also, Stephen, if you are around Ryan this week, Make him watch Star Trek or Star Wars, either one. This just disturbing he's never seen them. All right, let's see what popped off. All right, there's Ryan Warp. Let's see if we can get a look from the chopper. Ryan there in the white car by himself. And oh, Michael Whiting got turned into turn one. Wow, Michael Whiting got yeeted. Let's take a look at Michael Whiting. Oh, he gets into the car ahead. Bounces off. Hits the inside wall and gets hit. And man, that collected a lot of them. Well, this is definitely an interesting turn of events. Several cars caught up. Remember, folks, Home Motorsports, they don't have any fast repairs. Some of the guys involved did come to pit road, but all they could get was manual repairs. However, the top 5 is the only group of cars that has not been to pit road tonight, and everybody else has taken at least right side tires. Ryan Warp officially out of the race, as is Mark Nelson, Daryl Whitford. Wow, several cars out already. Paulo, it does appear to be a bit more than that, buddy. All right, here we go. Off into 3 and 4. Pace car dives in. And out of turn 4, the green flag flies again. Tim St. Jean making the highline work into 1 and 2. Richie fights back. Wow, a little bit of contact out of turn 2. I believe these two also had contact a little bit at Sobo. How much will we see these two leaning on each other and potentially banging on each other? Pujanowski now back into 3rd. Just cleared Edmund. Jess Chambers now up into 5th, but look who's behind, Gerald Poole. Richie Joplin did manage to clear into the lead. Edmund Jones battling for 3rd. It does appear Punch has some right front damage. The walls here at North Wilkesboro can be brutal. John Barry now up into 7th, battling with Mark Dantuma. Dantuma gets a better run out of turn 2. Mark now at 12 spots into 7th, but Gerald Poole up 15 spots into 6th. Richie Joplin opening up a little bit of a gap on Tim St. Jean. A few car lengths for the moment, as it looks like that damage is really slowing Punch down. He has slipped back to 5th, has Jess Chambers looking underneath and Gerald Poole right behind. And now Jess ahead and Gerald looking underneath. And the caution is out for John Barry. And that's going to hurt. John had been marching forward all night. Looking down from the chopper, there's John Berry in the yellow car on the outside, spins down into the wall. Oh, when he tries to get rolling again, James Lacey has nowhere to go. So Richie Joplin still in the lead, has not been to pit road. Mike Burgess and Mark D'Antuma both in this time. John Talley gets the lucky dog, waved back to the lead lap, and that car is beat up. Tim St. Jean still right there in second place. He has made Richie work for it on each of these restarts. If he ever gets the timing perfect, he could very well easily take the lead. You know Richie's going to be very defensive on the restart. Pace car dives to pit road. And the green flag flies again in North Wilkesboro. Richie has the nose ahead into turn one. Edmund dives underneath. Tim St. Jean up on the high side. Jess Chambers on his bumper. Jess and Pudge leaning on each other through three and caution. Mike Burgess involved. All right, looking down from the chopper, Burgess there at the back of the pack. James Lacey drifts up almost to the wall. Burgess gets by. Gets a bump from above, and it sends him into the wall. Richie Joplin still at the front of this one. Gerald Poole, Pujanowski, Tim St. Jean, Edmund Jones, Richie Joplin, the only 5 cars that have not been to pit road. And Steven Lindner just got waved back to the lead lap. Richie has led every lap so far. Can he get the rest of them from here? He definitely has some tight competition up there at the front as they begin to to stack back up. No, they're going to go single file for the restart. Pace car drops in, Richie in control. And they are away once again. Green flag back in the air. Single file restarts definitely benefit the leader. It's going to make everybody behind's job of getting by that much harder. Jess Chambers back up into 5th. Don Warren in 6th. Gerald Poole still holding on to 7th. Kevin Bruner in 8th. Terry James in 9th. Clinton Chambers in 10th. And a battle back behind. Mark Dantuma fighting his way all the way back up. He just picked up multiple spots, took 11th. And Edmund Jones just set the fastest lap of the race last time by. Tim St. Jean still lurking there in 3rd. Pudge still fighting for 4th with Jets. Jess holds on to it for the moment. Richie and Edmund still out front. Tim St. Jean is there. Jess Chambers in 4th. Has got a gap to close now, 1.3 seconds. Gerald Poole starting to try and fight back toward the front as well. Mark Dantuma has made his way back to 10th. It does look like under that last pit stop, Dantuma picked up 4 tires and it's paying off. Hey, good evening, Kumar. Richie Joplin has started opening up a 3/4 of a second. Oh, Edmund kissed the wall. Tim St. Jean peeking underneath for 2nd. Jess Chambers about 1.4 seconds back, but as that battle rages ahead, he'll be able to close some ground. Mark Dantuma now looks underneath Kevin Bruner. Kevin came into the 3rd in points. 7 points behind Jess. As Gerald Poole just took 6th from Pudge. Pudge's right front damage has got to be having a big impact on the car. You can see he's missing most of that right fender, or it's all pushed in. And the car definitely not turning as well as it had earlier. Edmund still holding on to 2nd, Tim St. Jean in 3rd. Since they've gotten single file, they've been able to pull away from Jeff for the moment. Gerald Poole now in 6th, closing in on Don Warren. Mark Dantuma now in 9th. As he caution is out, John Wyatt involved. Wow, the entire field is in behind except for the leader, Richie Joplin. Now, what will the strategy be here? Right sides for sure. Who will take 4? Edmund up getting right sides at the moment. We'll see if his left side goes up. Yes, it does. Tim St. Jean getting right sides as well. And Tim's going to take all 4. Looks like quite a few drivers took 4. And a few, like Don Warren and Gerald Poole, took 2 tires only to gain some track position. And Richie up here alone, old tires. They'll have around 50 to go and the green flag drops. Will Richie's old tires be enough from here? Lights are back out on the pace car. Everybody stacking back up for the restart. Pace car dives to pit road. The top 9 all have 2 tires. Everybody else on 4. Here we go. Except Richie on his original set, green flag. How long can Richie make those old tires last? Don Warren in second. Gerald Poole, Mark Dantuma battle for 3rd. Gerald may have the advantage. He got the nose ahead. Mark bounced it off the wall. Just trying to peek. Caution is out. Stephen Linder, John Wyatt involved. Let's see what brought it out this time. All right, looking down from the choppers, they come out of turn 4. Yeah, they got into each other. Take a look from another angle, starting a little further back. There's John White on the high side. And yep, 1 hit, 2 hit, all hit. Interesting to note, Clinton Chambers has picked up a black flag along the way. Ryan Warp said he also, his car broke the steering, but Ryan could just dirt track it. You don't need a steering wheel, just use your right foot. Record, edit, post, thank you for the raid. right, they're going to go single file. Once again, pace car is in. Big advantage to Richie and everybody behind him on fresh tires except for him. Any advantage helps him right now. The green flag flies again. Hey, good evening, Becky. Don Warren still in second, Gerald Poole in third, Mark Dantuma in fourth, Jess Chambers in fifth. Richie Joplin for the moment keeping those old tires going. How was your stream? Tim St. Jean now back in seventh, finding his way forward. Budjanowski with his damage has slipped back into 10th. And with 40 to go, Richie still out front and still nobody running him down. John, you did have a bit of a hit, buddy. Everybody in the top 10, pretty much everybody on the lead lap, single file for the moment. Clinton Chambers has served his black flag on his way out as Tim St. Jean takes sixth. How was your stream tonight? I'm sorry, Cal. Richie Joplin still pulling away. Becky complaining about cold weather in Florida. Gerald Poole in third, Mark Dantuma in fourth, still the two biggest movers. They're right on Don Warren's bumper, but almost a stalemate between the three. Jess Chambers back in fifth. And somehow on those ancient tires, Richie is pulling away an 0.8 of a second lead. Kevin Brunner back in 11th is closing in on Pudge. And the battle for second, Gerald kissed the wall there, but uses the bounce. He had the nose under Dawn for a moment. Richie just getting further away now, 1.6 second lead. Gerald has a run. Mark Dantuma lurking right behind, and Jess Chambers is closing in. But Tim St. Jean is looking under him. Dantuma now to third. And Richie Joplin is loving the battle behind. His lead now 1.9 seconds. Tim St. Jean now up to 6 and right on Jess Chambers' bumper. Edmund Jones also trying to make up some ground. He's going to look to the high side. Didn't have enough of a run into 1. John Talley, Terry James right behind as well as Edmund shoots into 6th and opens the door for John Talley. Gerald Poole still sits about 2 seconds behind Richie with Mark on his bumper. Oh, Jess kisses the wall out of 4. And you can tell everybody is pushing a little bit harder. Coming at 25 to go. Every time they come out of 4, somebody kisses the wall. Edmund Jones is closing in on Jess Chambers in 5th. John Barry has gone to pit road. He is showing a black flag. And Richie Joplin for the first time tonight about to be in lap traffic. Stephen Lindner just ahead. And looks like John Barry is officially out of the race. Looks like John could barely hold on to the car, so he called it a night. "22 laps to go, coming to 21 to go, and Richie will have to contend with lap traffic off and on for the remainder of this. Gerald's still about 2 seconds back, but that lap traffic could help. Tim St. Jean still back in 7th, Terry James at 8, John Talley in 9, Hutch still holding on to 10th. Kevin Bruner right there with him. John, I think if you had launched the car right in front of Richie, nobody else in the field would have complained. Gerald and Mark starting to battle for 2nd place. Mike Burgess has had a problem. The caution is out. Let's see what happened to Mike. All right, looking down at Mike as he goes off into 1 and 2. Just loses the back end. Quickly gets it down onto the apron so he doesn't impact the leaders. Well, this is going to be interesting. We've got several lead lap cars on pit road. Don Warren, Tim St. Jean, John Talley, Kevin Bruner, Mike Burgess. The top 7 all stay out. Richie still has not been to pit road tonight. Gerald Poole still holds second. Mark Dantuma in third. Jess Chambers in fourth. Edmund Jones in fifth. Terry James, Pujanowski, Tim St. Jean, Don Warren, John Talley, all rounding out the top 10. And everybody from 8th on back has at least fresh right side rubber. All right, lights are out on the pace car. All right, here we go. Into 3 and 4. Pace car is in. Richie in control, and here they come. And the green flag flies with 13 laps to go at North Wilkesboro, and Gerald's going to run it deep in there. Mark sees the opening, cuts under. If anybody's to have a shot at Richie, they're going to have to settle this quickly. Antuma almost had it out of 4. Richie continuing to pull away as they battle for second. Edmund Jones lurking right on the bumper and a little bit of fighting back behind. Pudge trying to hold Burgess loose out of 4. And Richie out of turn 4 gets 10 laps to go at North Wilkesboro. As Mark Dantuma may clear Edmonds under Gerald. Whoa, a close call out of 2. Edmond had a bit of a bobble, but holds on to it. Remember, Mark does have fresher tires than Richie by quite a bit. But does he have enough speed and time to run him down? Gerald and Edmund still battling for third. Whoa, Gerald! Gerald's getting aggressive there. He wants the podium. Oh! Edmund and Gerald get together in the backstretch. Coulson is out. Other cars are caught up. Wow. You kind of knew in that top 10 a lot of hard battling was going on. It was going to happen eventually. It was just a matter of which one. All right, keep an eye on them. We'll dial up the chopper. Side by side coming out of 2. Both of them just leaning on each other. Edmund comes up too much. Gets underneath. And Gerald ends up backwards. And folks, don't forget, right after the broadcast, come back in about 5 minutes after, the Unicorn is going to be a trucking tonight. From the sounds of it, it's already eventful. And Pujanowski is coming in. That's a surprise. He was in about 8th place. He's going to drop to about 12th from the look of it. Well, this will definitely give Mark Dantuma a couple laps to see if he has anything for Richie's old tires. Mark Dantuma, Jess Chambers, and Terry James, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, all last on pit road, lap 87. Don Warren, Tim St. Jean, John Talley, and Kevin Bruner last in lap 124. As they stack up for the restart, we're about to see who has done the best job on tires tonight. And the green flag flies. We'll get 3 to go at the line. Richie quickly cleared, almost ran into Dantuma going into 1. He is being aggressive, trying to hold on to that lead. Dantuma in the fight. Here comes Jess Chambers. And Terry James still fighting as well. Two laps to go. Dantuma has not got in position, but Terry James has. Steven Linder has had a problem back behind. And the white flag flies one more time around North Wilkesboro. Richie Joplin just set the fastest lap of the race, coming to the white flag. And out of turn 4, Richie Joplin will win his 5th win of the season, likely locking up the title. Mark Dantuma coming home in 2nd. Terry James holds on for 3rd. And what a finish. And there was a lot of excitement in that one. Let's talk to our top 3. Doesn't look like Terry James is available, so we'll start with 2nd place, Mark Dantuma. Mark, I have to say, on that restart, Richie gave you the perfect opportunity on the final restart to just yeet him into a wall. Why didn't you?
I kind of felt bad because I kind of jumped the start there a little bit, so I had to check up, and I figured I'd better not just make my problems worse, but it was tempting, I have to admit that.
Well, next time, do better. Nobody cared if you jumped the start. We just wanted you to hit Richie. We're tired of him winning.
I'll have to think about that. I don't know. He's a corporate teammate and everything, and I would feel bad if I wrecked him. I've done it enough already, just not broadcast at the time.
Well, man, still an awesome fight, an awesome comeback, and I have to say the tires, you timed that perfectly to make up some ground.
Yeah, I had to do something. These cars are just so hard to pass in. I could pass on the initial start and for the first few laps, and then it just faded away.
Well, man, a great job and a great finish. Congratulations.
Thanks, Doug.
And our winner, Richie Joplin. Now, Richie, I have to ask the question everybody wants to know. What grid pack are you using to set the fastest lap of the night on the last lap without changing tires all night?
Well, I did not have grip packs, but I seen Mark Dantuma behind me, and I know how good he is about saving tires and how he just rides back yonder. So, I had like 4 laps go, 5 laps go. I needed to get away fast.
Well, it definitely
So-
worked.
Yeah, but I just looked at my right rear. I'm surprised that I even could keep it straight. Honestly, I think all the cautions kept the temp down, but still, seeing what tread I got left was, yeah,
How much was left?
45%.
Oh, well, it is amazing you were able to hold on to it, but you did, and you get your 5th win of the season. Also, likely just locked up the championship.
Well, hopefully I did, because Slingers next week, and they need to fill that track in with water, put some fish in there, have some competition of fishing in there. That is about as good as that track is for me. Yeah.
Well, man, still a great job, a great win, and a great season. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you, Doug. And I want to give a shout out to Navy Joe and Flaming Carm Paint Shops and Ally Wheel Repair. Now, if y'all need even paints or anything like that, go your coffee, go check him out. And thank you for broadcasting, Doug. I really enjoy watching your stuff.
My pleasure, buddy. Great job. Richie Joplin back in victory lane. Likely just locked up the championship. Folks, come back here in about 5 minutes. The Unicorn already trucking. Sounds like there's already chaos and anarchy. So that obviously means trucks are flying. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hope y'all had as much fun as we did. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube. And we'll see you in a bit. Have a good one, y'all.